And good evening, sports fans. It's the Karl DeMasi Sports for short. You gotta love doing stuff live. Once again, good evening, sports fans. It's the Karl DeMasi Sports Report midweek live show. It's the coach and AD, Karl DeMasi, and the man over at Calvary Day School.
What's going on, man? It's great to be here once again tonight. Listen, it's not easy to say Karl DeMasi Sports Report. I mean, like that's a mouthful altogether. Like the ads I was reading today. I mean, my wife will eventually tell you how many takes it took me to do Weatherington Chiropractic. You know, This doesn't roll off the lips, so don't feel bad at all, man.
Yeah, but that's what they teach you. You got to say it 2 or 3 times so people remember it. So it's part of the business. But once again, Saturday we had a great show. I mean, a lot of people loved it. I mean, it was a lot of fun. So now we're getting into next week, and we're going to pick on where we left off. But it's always a lot of fun. And the Georgia High School State Association. You gave me a good intro with that blog telling us where everybody's at. And once again, what happens tomorrow? Georgia High School State Association, the executive board meets.
Yeah, so the Board of Trustees will meet tomorrow, virtual meeting. So that's made up of usually a member from each classification. And sometimes it's upper Georgia, South Georgia type deal. But so there's at least 7 on there, one from each class, and they'll meet and they're just going to listen to, what the what it said on GHSA.net today is that they're going to, listen to a report from Dr. Hines about, starting back and what that looks like. And if, what recommendations I'm sure that he's been given by his medical counsel and what that looks like going forward for the state of Georgia. And, we talked about last week on the show, Alabama came out and said they could start school back or going back into schools on June 8th, which means, the districts had the opportunity if they want to start sports, they could. And so I'm looking forward to tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to Friday to see what the State of Alabama High School Association has to say about what they look like. And then Monday night or Tuesday night is when the National Federation dropped their guidelines. And, man, you're talking about some reading there. And if you're in phase 1, there's a lot of restrictions to go on and things you have to prepare for. I just don't think people understand. And maybe we'll publish that on your blog as well, just so people can get an idea of what athletics are going to have to deal with. I think they just think, hey, we're going to walk in here and everybody's going to put on hand sanitizer and we're going to go. But that's not what it's going to look like at all, Karl. So we'll get that out to the viewers and to the readers here this week as well.
That's what I was looking at. My phone just buzzed, and it was a question. How, as a agency, whether it's the Georgia High School State Association, Calvary Day School, Chatham County Public Schools, I mean, you got the National Federation of High School coming out. You got the state regulations coming out. I mean, you got everybody having their own regulations coming out. How do we come up with one set of rules? I mean, we got the Center for Disease Control. We got the World Health Organization. We got the government. How do we put this together? I mean, it's just so much.
Well, you're just going to take bits from everybody. I'm sure that's what Dr. Hines, he said it on our show, a couple of weeks ago about taking, the advisement of the medical board at UGA, the CDC, that they were in advisement with. And you just kind of piece that together with what's going on in the state of Georgia. Now, remember, just like the NCAA came out with theirs today. If you've not already read that student athletes. So football, men's and women's basketball. Now, I don't quite understand men's and women's basketball when they're not a fall sport. I would have thought it would have been, hey, your fall collegiate sports could start coming back. So that's like, soccer and other stuff that are fall-related sports could get back. But obviously, it's revenue sports and those student athletes. But even on the NCAA, if you read through it, I read through it quickly today, it is voluntary. You cannot, they were Pacific said, it is voluntary. You cannot force the student athletes to come back on campus. You cannot punish the student athletes if they don't want to come on campus. And you can't reward the student athletes, have a reward system if they choose to come back on campus. And so it's going to be the same thing with high school athletics. It's going to – remember, summer activities is a voluntary mode. You can't force student athletes to come work out during the summer. You can just strongly recommend it. Like, hey, you have to do 20 workouts this summer. We all understand what that looks like. If you don't, then you're behind compared to others. And so, hopefully what I hope happens as an athletic administrator, and obviously football is going to be the one that really jumps back in this thing, is that they will go by the protocols, that they won't, like if you read the National Federations, like phase 1, you can't lift in phase 1.
Right.
So if Calvary Day School is following whatever rule it is and they can't lift, but you got schools X, Y, and Z lifting, then, not everybody, that's part of the question is, how do you regulate protocol? You just got to be honest about the system from that standpoint.
And we know there are people that aren't honest, and that's the sad part about it. And, we got the National Federation of High School. We got the Georgia High School State Association. We got the coaches, athletic coach. There's so many associations, and people just got to do the right thing. And, but like you said, the key word was, voluntary. And a lot of times high school kids don't understand that. And they feel like the pressure, they got to be there. But just like you said, and I've coached for a long time, football, of course, you've done soccer. And you know what? You miss the workouts and you're behind, you're not in shape, you're going to lose out. That's how I looked at it. But, some coaches go to the extreme, and, we got to take care of the kids, and that's what it comes down to. But when I saw last night, when the University of Notre Dame put it out there that it's going to be voluntary workouts starting June 1st, I knew it was going to blow up. I mean, Demetrius Robertson, he blew it up right away. He put his little hedgehog cartoon head into Athens. So the kids are excited. Like you said, Chad, you got to follow protocol. You got to be careful. You got to know who you're around. You got to know who's sick, who's got a fever, and hopefully everybody will take care of it. But you got to love it, because right now we got the Darlington race going on a Wednesday night. Sports are coming back. We got Tiger and Phil this weekend with Tom and
Peyton Manning.
Tom and Peyton Manning. So sports are back, and it's going to come back full swing. Now, before we get into the other, what's going to happen on Saturday, a lot of people are really putting pressure on this baseball thing. And people got to understand my opinion, okay? It's a professional sport. It's entertainment. So there's a lot of money, and the actors who are the baseball players want their fair share. And if baseball doesn't happen, because they feel they don't get their fair share, people got to understand that.
Yeah, it's like anything else. I mean, we've been asked as educators to shelter at home, to do certain things at home, to teach at home, virtual learning, things of that nature. I'm sure there's people out there listening with their specific job. They've been asked to do certain things, and, no one's docked our pay. People that might happen in their business, or they might have lost their job. And so I think people have to understand that this is their livelihood, and this is their only livelihood. I know what you're saying is, hey, it's hard to look at Bryce Harper or Snell and those guys who are making millions and say, hey, man, you're making millions of dollars. I'm making $50,000 a year. How can you not come back out here and entertain? But at the end of the day, it's still their livelihood. We have the choice to not travel. We have the choice to not get on a plane. We have a choice not to be around 20, 30 other people if that's our choice. There's no volunteer come back to baseball type deal under the collective bargaining agreement. And so that's, I think that's what people need to understand. There's a lot more here than just saying, hey, we're going to go back to play. And if you read, I think it was 67, 90 something things that MLB said that they could or couldn't do, everything from, no sunflower seeds to, all these other things that you couldn't do. So, players are looking at that and seeing how they're going to be impacted. And it's easy to sit back and say, I read, what Tom Glavine said. Hey, if you don't get back, then it's on the players. Well, that's easy when you're retired. It is. It's all easy for us as armchair quarterbacks to sit back and say, hey, this is how we do it. But when you're in the room making that decision, or it's now your livelihood playing, it's a whole different ball game.
It definitely is. Definitely is. You're listening to the Karl DeMasi Sports Report midweek live show with the coach and AD. We'll be back Saturday morning, and we got a really big lineup. But once again, we got to send out kudos to John Henderson, Coach's Corner, because we're on the Coach's Corner Sports Network. They had Rubbin' and Grubbin' on from 5:30 to 6:30 on Coach's Corner Facebook. Now, I know Friday night Come on back, Coach. Okay. Friday night, we got the Hunter Price Band in the Sound Garden. Okay. And then Saturday night, we got a Calvary boy in the Sound Garden.
Yeah, the Drucker Band, Chris Drucker. He's a Calvary grad. His sister's a Calvary grad. They run music and worship at several churches. But he is just a musically talented kid. He played baseball for us as well, pitched some. And so I was excited when you told me that the other day. And when I did the read today for the commercial for Coach's Corner, it's awesome to know. And they're a very talented group. They're young. I mean, they've got putting a lot of stuff out there. So looking forward to being at Coach's Corner Saturday night for sure.
All right. And Saturday, we got a big show. I mean, I forgot to tell you this. I messed up. I had lined up Danny Britt, Benedictine football coach, for this Saturday, but I had to bump him back a week because we got Caleb Harkleroad coming in. He's going to kick off the show. There's a new sport in town.
The Gaelic.
The Savannah Gaelic Athletic Association, and it's called hurling. It looks like lacrosse, but there's no net to get the ball up. You got to hit it off a flat stick. And you know what? 6:30 tomorrow night, I'm going to be there in Forsyth Park to give it a shot. I heard they wanted my co-host to come too, but are you coming with me?
6:30 tomorrow night. Let me check my schedule. I got to check the calendar and check with the other one, the other main calendar maker. And if there's nothing on the calendar, then I would love to be at Forsyth Park.
6:30. The Savannah Gaelic Athletic Association, and on Saturday, Caleb Harkleroad is going to come on and talk about it, how you can get involved. I think they had 10 people last week interested. It was on the news. I'm excited about it, but that's going to kick off the show. And then I ran with your idea, okay? This is the first time ever. We're going to have, I hope I can set this up, we're going to have 4 guests, 4 high school athletes who just signed at Savannah Christian to come on and be the athletes of the week. We got Chase Beard, football, going to St. Vincent's School in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. We got Grady Kopic, unbelievable cross-country track star, going to Presbyterian. We got Jake McCarthy, who you talked about was one of the best goalies in the area. He's going to Bruton Parker. And Nate Moon, what a great story. This kid was phenomenal his junior year. Hurt his shoulders to start the season, sat out, but he stuck with the team. He helped coach the team, and he got a preferred walk-on to Georgia Tech. And the kid's special. I mean, and he's got like a 4.2 grade point average. So it should be interesting how we're going to handle this. You better have some questions ready.
Listen, man. Between the 4 of them, we're going to be able to get this. I'm excited for Nate. I think Georgia Tech got a steal there. I think if he hadn't hurt his shoulder in the scrimmage and re-injured, I think against Athens Academy in the first game, regular season game, he would have had a dynamic season and basically got his pick. But listen, with his GPA, he's probably a Zell Miller kid as well. So financially, he's probably handled pretty well at Tech. And so I'm looking forward to talking to him and specifically, ask him about Tech and what were some other options. That's what we always love to hear about is who else was in the picture, and the why behind it. And then also McCarthy, just because, I've coached against him for 3 years, was looking forward to coach against them for 4 years. And he's phenomenal now. He's about 6'2", 6'3", uber athletic goalkeeper, and just a special player. So I'm excited to talk to him about his choice as well as why Bruton Parker, because he is a prototypical collegiate keeper, and so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun getting all 4 of them at once, and I got to work it out before Saturday. But once again, to wrap up the show, our last guest. Well, we did Savannah State Tiger football last week. Hey, let's go down 16. Let's go exit 129, head up 67. We got Chad Lunsford, the head coach of Georgia Southern, coming on and telling us how the Georgia Southern Eagles have handled it. We hear a lot about Savannah State. It's our town. We got a lot of information. I still want to hear about, Georgia Southern, with the success that team has had. Let's find out. And there's a lot of players from Savannah on that team too.
Yeah, you had John Wesley Kennedy from Benedictine get their, one of their big awards this week that came out on social media. Yeah, saw that. And so then we'll get to ask him firsthand, about players coming back June 1. What's Georgia Southern football going to look like, and what protocols are they putting in? I'm just as interested in that as anything else, is seeing how they're going to get back and talk about recruiting local talent and also national talent as well. So, man, that's a great show. That's a big show. I doubt we're going to stay in our hour and a half timeline, but that's okay, man. That's a really big show for us on Saturday with a tremendous guest. And, I want the whole Gaelic thing is, I remember when Calvary used to play state playoff baseball at Bethesda. And we always, that first round was always during the Scottish games. And so if we didn't sweep on Friday, then it was going to be just drudgery on Saturday. But fortunately for Kevin Farmer, all those years he was the head baseball coach at Calvary, we swept on Friday, didn't have to worry about interfering with the Scottish games on Saturday. So I want to ask them, hey, what's the combination of all this?
It should be a lot of fun. I mean, the Scottish games, you see him throw these long telephone poles and these big rocks. And Scottish games are crazy. I'm telling you right now, it's all brute strength. I mean, this stick that we're going to be talking about is flat. I can't wait to do this tomorrow night. It should be a lot of fun.
Are we wearing a kilt?
Kilts, old guy.
I'm just asking. I want to be prepared. We get out there.
No, I'm not wearing a kilt yet, but you can wear a little gym shorts underneath. You're fine. But from what I understand,
bananas out there. Be the little bananas.
They don't wear stuff under those kilts, from what I understand. So we're not going to go there. But once again, it's the Coach and AD. The Karl DeMasi Sports Report will be on Saturday on Coach's Corner Sports Network in the Sound Garden. We'll start at 9:00. Great guest, Caleb Harker-Rode from the Savannah Gaelic Athletic Association. The 4 young men who just signed from Savannah Christian, Grady Kopic, Chase Beard, Jake McCarthy, and Nate Moon. And then we're going to wrap it up. We're going to talk a little Eagle football. Hey, I don't think he's watching this, but the big guy, got to send out our thoughts and prayers to him.
Yeah, he said he would never fish in flip-flops or maybe ever go fishing again. He learned his lesson. I still hadn't gotten a full story on that, but Big Frank, if you watch this tonight, man, we're thinking about you. I'm glad your surgery went well. Thanks for keeping everybody updated on social media. And we'll have to get back and get the real story about what happened out there in your fishing expedition.
Maybe an alligator. Who knows? But and on a sad note, I know this guy means a lot to you as much as he means to me, the voice of high school football. He is high school football here in the state of Georgia. Georgia High School Scoreboard Show, Georgia Football Scoreboard Show every Friday night, heard throughout the state. Tommy Palmer, he's been doing this a long time, battling cancer. And right now he's hoping that he'll be on this fall if it does happen. But once again, I mean, you couldn't meet a more gracious, a more caring, a more concerned guy than Tommy Palmer. I mean, my quick story is I was the head coach at Groves, turned the program around because I had the athletes to do it. And I got a call from this guy. Do you want to be on my Georgia high school football show? I said, sure, I'll come on. And of course, we hit it from there. He asked me to be his coastal correspondent for the last 15 years. And Tommy Palmer is a class act. You see him on the GP, Georgia Public Broadcasting System Sports with John Nelson. They do a great job. They're still doing their podcast. He's still going to do that. I just wish him all the best. You got to love the guy. And I just hope more than 6 months as they're telling him.
Yeah, I mean, as any football fan and coach knows, if on every Friday night, especially if you had an away game, as soon as you got, on the bus or in your car to start driving back, you were running whatever station you could find it on. It didn't matter if you're driving back from Claxton, Vidalia. Everybody across the state was finding their local station that had Tommy Palmer on, and to listen to scores, specifically listen to yours and your region and what everybody else in their area was doing. And it's such a special show, Karl, on Friday nights. And then one of my favorites was always when he would have the executive director on and they would do, the bracket show. And so, Tommy, man, we wish you well, and we pray for all the best, man. And but you've done so much for the sport of football, and no matter what, that show will continue to go on.
I hope his son Jay is the next person in line. That's what he's hoping. So, once again, this has been the Karl DeMasi Sports Report. It's the midweek live show with the coach and the AD, Chad Griffin from Calvary Day School. We'll be back on Saturday morning. Don't forget, tomorrow night, Friday night, the Hunter Price Band. At the Soundgarden Coach's Corner. Saturday night, we got your boy from Calvary.
The Drucker Band.
Yeah, because I'll mess that up just like I messed my own name up. So that'll be Saturday night in the Soundgarden. Check Eventbrite for tickets. I know Saturday's free, so the first 100 people are going to get in. I think Friday night might be a $10 ticket charge, a couple of charges to get in. Make sure you check that out. Well, we can go on for another hour and a half, but we got to get out of here. Appreciate you. Congratulations. Oh, give a shout out to those 3 kids that signed to Calvary today.
Yeah, we had three student athletes officially, as Big Frank would say, put pen to paper here. And first was Samantha Seymour. She's a cross-country track runner. She's going to Piedmont College up in Atlanta to run track and cross-country for them. Jackson Phillips, who's pitched for us last couple of years, he's going to Francis Marion. He's going to start, his opportunity is going to be on their developmental program. As he builds his arm strength and gets up there, but he throws strikes. That's all he does. Was you need someone to throw strikes. Jackson was coming in to do that. And then lastly, we have him on our show, Jay Weatherington. We did his ceremony today, and that was great. They're still probably lingering in the gym. If I know Bart, they're in there still taking pictures, and that's great. So Jay Weatherington officially signed his letter of intent day for Presbyterian. So
big day at Calvary, big day at Savannah Christian. There's going to be 2 more signings tomorrow at Richmond Hill at 11:30 at all virtual signings. I wish I could be there, but once again, until Saturday, may be the best couple of days you got going, and then Saturday morning we'll be back on. Chad, have a good one, and we're ready. We're ready to go. Man. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you.
All right, you too. Once again, Saturday, 9 o'clock in the Sound Garden, the coach and AD. I'll talk to you guys later on. Have a great night. Have a great couple of days until we speak again on Saturday morning. It's the coach at AD. Karl DeMasi. I'm out of here.